to Her-Tastic Journey. My name is Dr. Charlotte, and I am pleased and honored to have Kathleen Maxwell on today. Kathleen is a certified CHT, which I just learned that stands for Certified Hypnotherapist, and the founder of Your Success Coach, Kathleen, a warm, encouraging guide for professionals stepping into leadership roles. Drawing on both intuitive coaching and proven leadership frameworks, Kathleen empowers women and professionals, such as ourselves, to find their authentic voice and step into their full potential. She is the creator of the Worthy Now 5-Day Challenge, which is actually launching this October 6th through the 10th. And we will have a link for that provided for you. And then Kathleen's going to talk a little bit about that. It's a free transformational event designed to help participants replace 5 confident zapping behaviors. I'll let you talk about those here in a minute. Building on this momentum, Kathleen also leads the Tell a Better Story workshop. Ooh, a good story is always good. It's a 9-week journey that dives deep into the hidden beliefs and limiting decisions that hold people back. I'm learning so many things today. Kathleen and I have known each other for about 6 months, maybe now, like 10 months, guiding them to rewrite the narratives that shape their lives and career. Her mission is deeply personal. A 20-year breast cancer survivor, she learned firsthand the power of mindset, habits, and self-care in order to create a thriving life. Her philosophy is grounded in 3 principles: managing thoughts to reduce the grip of negativity. I always do that. No negativity around us. That support health and consistency, nourishing foods and habits to sustain energy. She has hosted 2 successful summits and is the creator of her own YouTube channel, Change It for Good Now, where she highlights experts who teach practical strategies for living with positivity and resilience. Known for her warm and encouraging presence, I attest to that. She is very warm. I agree with that. Kathleen creates a space where individuals feel seen, supported, and inspired to transform. So welcome again, Kathleen Maxwell, to Her-Tastic Journey. Appreciate you being on.
Well, thank you so much, Charlotte. It's just a pleasure to be here.
All right. So with all of that said, you've got a lot to talk about. How did you start your own journey? Please share.
My journey actually began about 20 years ago when I found out that I had breast cancer, and I did all of the conventional things. I had chemo, I had surgery, I had radiation. And at the end of that, I thought, this is not a good way to heal up from any disease. I do not recommend it. It worked.
So sorry what happened.
It's been 20 years. I've survived, so that's all to the good. But what I realized is that my thoughts were what actually made me sick. I was holding in a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of unspoken things, being annoyed with I'd actually gone through 2 husbands by that time, and I was still angry at both of them. And I tell you what, when you just have enough anger inside of you, your body holds on to it, and then it doesn't know what to do with it. Once you get so much in, it says, oh, well, let's combine all of this negative stuff into a tumor.
Because you're full. You're full. There's nowhere for it to go.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's better to deal with your thoughts as they come and go, then come and then let them go. That's the key.
Oh, I love that. Say that again. Say that again.
Best to deal with your thoughts. Let them come in and then let them filter through you and go on out. You don't need to hold on to negative emotions. You don't need to hold on to anger and frustration and bite your teeth. It's better to unclench your jaw, tell the person you're annoyed with, gee, I'm annoyed. I think you could fix that, rather than just and try and muscle through the problem and solve it yourself. So that's what I learned. And one of the key tools that I used was hypnotherapy, which helps you to go into your unconscious mind and reprogram it so that you're thinking, yes, like tapping. Tapping is another way to do that, because your body stores the energy all over all over your body. And when you say, okay, it's all right to release it here, it's all right to release there, it's all right to release, that's just telling your body to go ahead, process the emotions, don't hold on to them. It's not important anymore. It's almost like you walk around with your hands clenched all the time. If you did that, the muscles would get very tired in your hands and in your arms and then up your arms and then up into your shoulders and your neck and so on. So
Yeah.
you need to unclench your hands. You need to let go of the anger. Just let it go. Shake it out. Exactly. And then you can react to things normally without aggression or whatever. And I don't say, don't pretend like it never happened, but go ahead and speak up for yourself and say, I'm not happy. We need to change this. And then let the other person participate. I
Well, I
was
have a
everything for myself.
I love that how your journey started and just your story I know is going to inspire women that are listening to this. But the thing I'm struggling with for my own self in my own life is that, I'll give you an example. So I have, oh, how people always say, I'm not talking for myself, I'm talking for a friend. A friend of mine has a sibling, and their sibling is very, they know, like they know, right? So don't come over here and try to say, I don't understand, or what you said fell on me wrong. Like this friend of mine might feel awkward saying that to their sibling. And so what would you, well, how would you, how could you coach me through that, Kathleen? What should I do?
Well, I myself have a sibling, and she lives in Colorado, and she is a Republican. And I live in California, and I'm a Democrat. So there are two things that we've figured out to do. One thing is we can each express our opinions about the situation that's going on in the country right now. We both think that it's a problem, that things aren't going well. So we're agreed on that. It's just how to fix the problem that we don't agree on. And I will let her say whatever she thinks would help. And I say, well, that's one way, or we could try. And then I say what I think would help. And then she says, yeah, I don't think that'd work either. And then we stop. We don't try and convince the
Oh,
other person. We allow the other person to express and like I said, we commiserate a lot. We think, well, there are some definite problems going on in the US right now. Yes, there are. And it's leadership. Yes, it is. And that's about as far as we can go. So I walk out onto the common ground as far as I can with her. When I want to turn left and she wants to turn right, I just let her. I just
I think that's a
let her.
really good, I like that. We walk on to the common ground. Yeah.
Right.
And then as far, it's almost like I'm going to walk on we're all both walking on the ledge until we're almost at the ledge. We should probably stop before we go over the ledge
That's right.
in a way.
There's no way that I'm ever going to convince her that I have the right answer. And there's no way she's going to convince me that she has the right answer. And that's okay. Because you know what? Neither one of us is in charge of the US right now. So it's just an opinion.
It's
And
an opinion. Yes.
letting the people in your life have opinions and thoughts that are different from your own is a wonderful thing. You don't need to have 500 Dr. Charlottes running around being little
No.
clones. It's more interesting having you and your sister with, or your spouse, or anyone, your relative of any sort, sibling. There, I couldn't find the word sibling. It's okay for them to be different. Just, like I say, just go to the point where you can't agree anymore and then say, well, okay, I see your point, and then just go on. And don't
Go on. And
don't try to don't
that's
win.
been around, right? Like just, I know I've been reading a few articles, maybe, yeah, I'm going to say maybe earlier this year, where there said the agree to disagree, how we used to say that back,
Right.
a couple of years ago, agree to disagree during this climate is really not applicable anymore. Because what we're trying to do is we're really trying to convince the other party, whomever they might be, to agree with us. And that agree to disagree and move on has really taken its toll in today's society. And we're talking today's society. Today is September the 9th, 2025, because this is being recorded. So in this climate of society today, what we're seeing or what the articles are being written about is that agreeing to disagree has kind of lost its art in
Right.
a way. And how would you I love that you have that relationship with your sibling and it's working very, very well. Are you close in age or not?
Yeah, we're 3 years apart.
Okay,
So
that's not too bad. That's
yeah,
pretty close. Not too close, but close. I have 4 years apart with my one sister and then 8 years apart with my other sister.
it's a big gap.
It's a big gap. It is a big gap. How would you, or what do you think of that? Like, what do you think about us losing, as a society in this time, the climate, losing that art of agree to disagree? Any
I think
thoughts?
it's a problem because what people have done for a long time to keep the peace is to just not talk about religion and politics. And now we're kind of at an edge where pretending like we can't talk about religion and politics is no longer useful. So I think it's better to slowly wade out and say what you see, what you feel, what you think, and then let the other person express. And I think eventually we'll be able to get to the next stage of, well, how do we want to solve this problem? If we don't start talking, if we don't start with the baby steps of at least saying, this is what I see and this is what I think and this is what we should do, you can't solve anything. And I think the more we talk about problems, the more we'll find common ground. For example, during the first Trump administration, they grabbed a bunch of people that were trying to come into the country and they separated the children from the parents and they put the kids in cages.
Well,
That bothered a
shelters.
lot of people. That bothered people. And then a lot of many of the families didn't get reunited, which bothers me. So I think that we need to be aware of what's going on and we need to be able to say this should never happen again. And we need to start talking to our legislators and saying, let's make some safeguards. The old guardrails aren't enough. We need to create additional guardrails and start the process of building a different world that we are more comfortable in. And sometimes that means saying, we never want to use this solution again.
Yes.
Just like we don't want to drop nuclear bombs anymore. That's not a
No,
good
we don't want to
solution.
do that. Yes.
So we don't want to lock children in cages. We need to
Or
start.
shelters, what depends on, like, or shelter. If you think it's a shelter or a cage, it's all in your view. I have to weigh it out here on my podcast, on Her-Tastic podcast. So you know what it reminded me of, Kathleen, though, when we were talking about religion and politics. I grew up in the corporate world. I'm in around and many different industries. I was fortunate enough that I was able to work for one company, but I worked in many industries within that one company. And it used to be that you didn't talk about religion or politics in corporate America. And I kind of feel like that bled over to, because you could talk about religion and politics with your friends, but you just really didn't talk about it at work. And then I remember also that if you are a leader or a manager, you really shouldn't associate with people that are not a leader or a manager. And I remember that thinking, I'm a young, naive, young person in the corporate business world. And I just said, that's a kind of odd. But now as the years have gone by, I know people that have been in corporate worlds and their circle seems so small. Like I believe my circle was really small because of all of these corporate kind of beliefs that get put in your head because you don't know any better. You leave home, you go to your new parents are now the corporate company that you work for. So you're leaving home with a set of rules, and then you go to this corporate or world with their set of rules. And so you kind of just assimilate. And as we're talking about this, I'm just seeing how now that has now gone back to social life. Like now, the things that we didn't talk about them at work, but we still talked about it at a party with our friends. Now we're not even talking about that at a party with our friends anymore. Well, some of us anyways. I'm a little chatty. I was just, that just made me think about that. I thought that was interesting how we've segued. It is a different world. I married a Republican. I'm a Democrat. But we settled that a long time ago, 30 years ago. And we agreed not to, we agreed to disagree. We agreed to yeah. That's been the stay hold in our household.
Right.
That's worked.
It does. And the thing with the corporations where they tried to keep the different ranks from associating was meant as protection for the younger, more vulnerable people so that the people on top couldn't take advantage of them. And they forgot what the rule was there for. It
Yes.
wasn't so that you couldn't have any kind of friendship or knowledge of the other people. It was so that there couldn't be a big power imbalance. So, it's good to not only know what the rule is, but why is the rule there?
Yes, I agree. I agree. So, and that kind of segues really into leadership and management. How would you describe your leadership style?
The only leadership style that's ever worked for me has been creating a consensus, making sure that everyone around the table has a voice and can express their opinion, and then taking all of the diverse opinions and forming a plan from that. And I've tried the other things, but they don't work very well for me. I think that there are a lot of leadership styles that men use that are like authoritarian or top down, don't ask me questions. That doesn't work for me. And I think it doesn't work for a lot of women because unfortunately, a lot of people are trained to only listen to a male voice in command. But they will, so they can use the authoritarian voice, but women, I think, need to learn how to use the expert voice. So lead
Oh, I
as an
love that.
expert.
I love that. I have not heard that before. So your leadership style is really the expert style.
Yes, I'm an expert and I consult with the other experts around the table. And because we are all intelligent, thoughtful experts, we can solve the problem together. And when it's our problem to solve together and everybody's voice matters, then people participate in the solution because we've created the solution together. So I think, by raising everybody up to an equal status and not worrying about hierarchy, you can get a lot more done. Also, you can get a lot more done if you don't really care who gets the credit. You can give credit all you want in the meeting, but if Billy Bob runs off to the president with, "Oh, I've got the solution to the problem," and he shares the solution as if it's his and not the group's, it doesn't really matter because it's still the plan that the group planned. So just, don't worry about taking the credit. Don't worry about looking like the smartest person in the room. The important thing is to be solution oriented.
I love that. I love that you said that. I haven't thought about it before. I'm going to do some research on that. The expert leadership style. I love it. So moving forward, we have a few minutes left. Do you have any other advice for women trying to achieve this balance in their corporate world?
I think it's really important for women to decide what they want and go for it. And by going for it, I mean, if there's a job you want to do or a task force you want to lead or an initiative you want to spearhead, you need to go and volunteer and say, "I want to lead that." And you need to tell your boss that. And you need to say, "Will you support me in leading this effort?" And if you just sit back and wait for people to ask you to do things, you're going to get asked to do things like take the minutes at the meeting or bring in the coffee or whatever.
Oh yeah, those are the never getting promoted NGPs.
Right.
Those are never getting promoted things where you're like, oh, you feel so good because you went and got lunch. That's an NGP. You're never getting promoted.
That's right. That's right. So it's best to suggest things like, why don't we do that on a rotational basis? I'll do it one week, but I'm not going to do it for every week. And that way everybody has to, it's just like being at home. When the meal's over, everybody picks up their plates and takes them to the kitchen. You don't
Yes.
leave it on the table for one person to come and clean everything up.
Yeah.
So, by the more egalitarian you can make a workplace, the better. You have to, as a woman, aggressively tell your boss what you want to do and choose your path. Don't wait for the boss to recognize that you're a hard worker and you deserve an additional thing. They'll never, never do it because they don't see you as being like themselves. They delegate to people that they think are like themselves. And so you have to
Don't
go
be
up
an
to them.
NGP.
You have to go up to them and you have to say, you have to volunteer, and that will set you apart from uh, at least 70% of the people. No, most people don't look for more work. You have to volunteer. You have to say, this is the career path I'm on. I need your support. In other words, you have to manage your manager. You have to tell him what he can do to help you succeed.
Or she sometimes
Or
also.
she,
Or she.
absolutely. You
So,
need to have a plan for yourself, and then you need to get your manager to buy in. And don't ever wait for the manager to figure out your plan and then invite you to participate. Like Dr. Charlotte says, otherwise you'll just be doing things that don't count towards getting you up higher on the corporate ladder. You
yes,
need
I have been even asked if I would get out of my chair in a room full of people so that someone else could sit in my chair.
And what
I
did you say?
said, no.
Good.
It was so funny. And I started laughing. I'm like, no? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, talk about anyhow, see, that's another story. I can talk
That's
to,
right.
maybe I'll share that with you offline. So anyways, we're getting ready to round up here. How do you want to be remembered, Kathleen? How do you want to be remembered as a business leader?
I would love to be thought of as the wind beneath someone else's wings, because I've done a lot of grinding corporate work and it hasn't really been very exciting. But if I could save other women from having to go through that grinding sensation and actually rise up into the corporate world, that would make me really happy. So I'm here to help people recognize what their next steps are and how their next steps are not be the good girl who gets coffee, makes the copies, takes the notes, or
Gets out
organizes.
of their seat.
Never, never, absolutely.
That was
If you
so
get
fun.
a
And that was,
meeting on time
and I'm
and
telling you, this was recent. This has been like in the last couple of years, like in this, in the 2020s, not like, you know, yeah, it's just
well,
recently. It was
I
fun.
yes, you people will often ask you to give up something that you've already fought for, and the answer clearly is no. So remember that no is a complete sentence, and you don't have to accommodate anyone.
Nope, and I did not. Or explain myself. I just laughed because I thought it was hilarious. So anyway, and that person was so embarrassed too.
But
The person that was like, not the person who asked, but the person that was being asked for. Like they would like they knew they would never say that out of their mouths. So they were like, what? So anyways,
good.
that was my view. It could have been different, but that was the lens I saw. Well, I just want to thank you, Kathleen, for being on Her-Tastic journey today. I really would like for you though to talk about your event that's coming up again. What day is it? What do we expect to see? I think there's a couple of items that you want to talk about, and then we'll wrap up for the day.
Great. Yes. So along with what we're talking about, the It's called the 5-Day Worthy Challenge. And each day, it starts October 6th, and it goes through the 10th. And each day, I'll be talking about a different strategy to help you hold your own in the corporate arena so that you don't make a silly mistake like getting up from the table where you have clearly already established a seat. There are 5 different things that I'll be teaching. It's completely free, and I would love to have everybody there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Again, Kathleen Maxwell, I appreciate you being on Her-Tastic Journey, and I look forward to getting to know more about you offline. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You're
Take care.
welcome.